FPL this week was absolutely crazy, and let's just take a look at our team and how we got on, and then we can possibly mention what to do when Haaland is going to be out for a couple of game weeks. So welcome back to FPL Access as we talk through my overview and what happened to me in game week 16. Now, starting off from the keeper, we struggled this week. I think this week everyone struggled and we all got a little bit lucky. So Dubravka obviously got 2 points, Lascelles got 1 point. Just talking about Newcastle for a bit, they don't look the same. They look a little bit fatigued and a little bit rubbish. Now, personally for me, I think Newcastle's fixtures still look really, really good. I'm still going to hold on to both Dubravka because of his price point and Lascelles as well until Botman comes back. Now, just looking at them, they got Fulham, Luton, Nottingham Forest. If Haaland is out, Lascelles to Trippier is the obvious move. But honestly, they've looked really bad the last few weeks. Maybe Trippier being out next week is going to be a bit of a rest for him so we can get him in game week 18. But getting back to it, they do have Champions League next week as well. And with their squad not being able to rotate as much, could Fulham, who have had 2 5-0 games in a row, pose a problem? I think they personally could, and we'll have to see how Newcastle perform midweek. But going onwards then, Gabriel again blanking. Obviously, Arsenal's defence have been kind of blanking. They obviously lost to Aston Villa this week. They conceded 3 to Luton, conceded to Wolves as well. It's not been a great week for Aston Villa, and I don't know if it, for Arsenal, I don't know if it's going to get any better. They got Brighton, Liverpool in the next 2. Obviously, we are going to have to start Gabriel. Their fixtures do pick up a little bit with West Ham, Fulham, Palace, Forest, Liverpool again. And we'll have to see if they can hold on and keep any clean sheets. I think Gabriel's position is quite stuck in that defence. I think they can get something out of Brighton and maybe even Liverpool as well. But I do think that Gabriel is a definite hold for me despite the blanking. Now, the one who I'm not so confident on, and I know a lot of people are confident on him, but I'm not, is Tsimikas. Now, got Man United next week, then Arsenal, then we've got Burnley, Newcastle, Bournemouth in the next 5. So a bit of a hit and miss result. Like Man United is obviously a bit of an easier fixture, especially for Liverpool. But he's not been hitting the ground running since everyone benched him for that 15-point week. He's got 2 points, 4 points. Obviously, he didn't play last week. And again, 2 points this week, obviously conceding. Now, I think someone to get if Haaland is out is Trent Alexander-Arnold. So maybe possibly upgrading to Tsimikas could be a viable option for future weeks. But let's talk about one of the GOATs of the game weeks. Now, I am a little bit annoyed at him, just because, well, not him, but just because Newcastle did score that late consolation goal, which wiped out Udogie's clean sheet points, knocked him off 3 bonuses, and would have put me far, far more ahead. But a 9-pointer off the bench, because Haaland didn't play, is very, very well and appreciated for me personally. And I do think that Udogie had a great game week last week. He obviously played very, very well, and I'm really looking forward to see their fixtures. The only thing with Udogie, we've seen it with Trippier, he could get a yellow card in one of the next game weeks. We know he likes the yellow card, we know he likes a red card, and if he gets one at Forest, he's right off for Everton. If he gets one at Everton, we're right off for Brighton. If he gets one against Brighton, he's right off for Bournemouth. I'm not sure when it resets, but I'd quite like him to not play the Man United game if I was going to pick, just because I think I'll probably bench him. But to be quite honest with you, Udogie, he was one of the saviours of the week. And yeah, so now moving on to the midfield. Let's start with the 3 stinkers. Saka blanked again. I mean, he usually gets 5, 8 points, but obviously Aston Villa managed to keep them at bay for the whole game. I don't think Saka's a worry. I think Saka's the most likely Arsenal asset to still get goals, still get goal contributions. I don't think any of you should be worried about the potential of Bukayo Saka. He could very easily get straight back into it and score a goal next week, and I think that's fine. Additionally, we've got Cole Palmer. Obviously, Cole Palmer scored an open goal last week on Tuesday, I think it was, or Wednesday, or one of those days against Man United in the loss. He didn't do very well against against Everton, but I would again say with Cole Palmer, not one of the ones you want to sell, just got him in. He's relatively cheap. And I mean, his fixtures up until game week 22 are amazing. I mean, arguably until they play Man City, they have great fixtures apart from Liverpool. I can see them getting a lot of points here. This is kind of the decision to see. So we keep Cole Palmer. If he does well, then we get points. If he doesn't do well, then most likely Pochettino will be sacked. I mean, Sheffield United, Wolves, Palace, Luton, arguably one of the 4 worst teams in the league. In there, obviously Fulham, I think, have potential to beat them as well. But I think Chelsea should be beating Sheffield United, Wolves, Palace and Luton quite easily. I don't see any of them. Palace can't keep a clean sheet to save their lives. And like, I know Luton have been playing well, but they shouldn't have. Wolves maybe, but realistically, if Chelsea want to not have the same season they had last season, they've got to be actually winning their next 5 games. And I could see them winning the next 5 games, but we've got to see how Cole Palmer does in that run. Additionally, my wild card now, not my wild card, but my sort of differential for the week. Now, a lot of people getting in Anthony Gordon, and I was like, I don't want to get in Anthony Gordon. You know, my mini league rival has him in, and getting Anthony Gordon is, you know, it's quite annoying actually, because maybe I should have got him in, because my mini league rival actually got Garnacho in as well, and he told me that he predicted it, so he knew that he got Garnacho in. But I got Garnacho in mainly for the run that they have from game week 20 onwards. I know they play Spurs in that, but they've got Wolves, West Ham, Luton, Fulham. They've got quite an easy run. He's very cheap, and basically I got him in because he was going to enable me to get Trippier before we got any of the Haaland moves and any of that. Obviously he blanked against Bournemouth, but I really don't think his position in the team is like up for, you know, like I don't think his position in the team is up for debate. I think realistically Garnacho is going to have a solid place in the team for a while. I think Ten Hag has maybe gone a little bit off Rashford. I am a little bit worried with the turn of fixtures for Garnacho, because if he doesn't start scoring, I assume someone will. Man United will probably flick a switch, do a race, get to 5th or 6th and get a Europa League for this season, and just secure that against Newcastle, against Spurs, you know, against those teams there. But moving on to maybe the craziest thing this week. For the first time in a long time, or any time I can really remember, our vice captaincy came into play. Haaland obviously got injured, and Pep ruled him out of the game. He looks like he's out for 2 weeks, but thankfully I had my vice captain on Salah, so I got this 26 points. So unlucky any Salah captainers who were like, oh my god, he's done so well, Haaland needs to match that, and he's done very, very well. Additionally, Son got 17 points, and I'm so glad I managed to get him back in, but Son's got like 4 really good fixtures coming up. Salah's fixtures are a bit harder, but it's obviously Salah, Man United, he could do very well. Arsenal, Newcastle, maybe a little bit less so, but obviously Newcastle are a hard defence to play against as well. And I think those 2 are definite picks. Now Watkins, he did blank against Arsenal, he has blanked against Man City, but he still looks very, very good. And Aston Villa look very, very good. I mean, he got his biggest haul when they drew 2-2, but he's obviously going to be playing the games. They got Sheffield United coming up, Burnley and Everton coming up, and Aston Villa do look very, very good. Now I don't know if they'll challenge for the title for until the end of the season. They could lose Douglas Luiz in January, they could lose a lot of players, but he's a definite hold for me. With Haaland being out as well, there's no need to downgrade him. But let's talk about my bench. So obviously we had Areola. Again, he didn't play. I think he is picking up an injury. I don't think his position in the team when he comes back is in jeopardy. I think Fabianski kind of showed why he kind of is a bit past his peak now in that 5-0 Fulham game. Haaland's obviously on the bench. He's got a 50% chance of playing right now. We'll wait until the conferences later in the week, but my ideal transfer, and I'll talk a little bit more in the transfer video, I'm going to get rid of Haaland, I think, and I'm probably going to downgrade him to Isaac, is my current proposition. I think Isaac is looking quite good, and we'll see there. Or I could go with a 3-week punt and get Solanke in. Now, I don't know, whenever I've got Solanke and he hasn't really performed, and whenever I haven't got Isaac and he has performed, so I'll compare the two. But I'm definitely going to be getting Trent Alexander-Arnold this week, I do feel so. I know there's been a couple price changes, and maybe I should make the move soon, but I can't obviously make the move without getting rid of Haaland to get Trent. I'm really excited to get him in, and I know some of you will probably be like, why are you getting him in? How are you going to get rid of him? We are going to be looking to move Salah and Son on for like, I think 3 or 4 game weeks, and then probably only bringing back one of them, and that could be risky, but I think it's kind of more interesting to play the game that way. GUI getting 1 point. I am going to be looking to move GUI on as soon as I can. He's got Man City next week, Brighton, Chelsea, Brentford, Arsenal, but realistically, GUI hasn't actually got points since they beat Burnley. I mean, there's not been a great 5 games for Crystal Palace recently, and I mean, I thought he might get something against Liverpool. Obviously, they snatched it back, losing to Bournemouth. It's just not been a great performance from GUI from when I got him in, and I probably should have expected it. Like, Crystal Palace defence couldn't hold out forever, and then obviously Cameron Archer doing what he does, sitting on my bench, keeping me with a bit of money in the bank. But yeah, that's how my team went on. Let me know how your guys' team went on. I'll check back with you tomorrow to discuss the possible transfers that we could make.